And now, Chrysler presents Flight Overdue, starring Veronica Lake.
This is the story of a great aviatrix, Paula Martin, whose exploits blazoned across the sky, whose name was on everyone's lips, who was the idol of the airways. The nation followed her career until the very end. Yes, it was a tragic flight over the ocean. She just disappeared into thin air. The search kept up for weeks until finally all hope was given up. But was that all it was, just a crash at sea? There were rumors of something strange, something mysterious. Now, for the first time, we can tell you that story of Paula Martin. Perhaps the best place to start is here, where Paula used to live. This is her husband, Don Bennett, who never really believed the story of her disappearance, never really convinced himself she was lost.
Come on, say it, spit it out. Speak up. Hello. Whoever you are, you hear me? This is WX432. I've been getting your signal for days now, but it continues scrambled. Will you clarify your signal? I want to know your position. Over. Hello. Hello. My name is Donald Bennett. I'm operating experimental station WX432 in New York. Will you give me a sign that you hear me? Over.
All right, Don, I'll take it in the living room.
Thanks, Deirdre. I wish you would. Hello. Wherever you are, I'm going to try broadcasting on another wavelength.
Hello, Mr. Rutgers. Fine, thanks. Yes, my husband's in, but he's been doodling over that peculiar radio signal the newspapers have been talking about all week. It is weird, isn't it? I'll try and see if I can tear him away.
You, out there. Can you hear me? This is WX432. WX432 in New York. Please identify yourself. Please identify yourself.
It's Sam Rutgers, dear.
Sam Rutgers? Gee, thanks, darling. After all these years? Hello, Sam. Yes. Yes, I'm doodling with the airwaves again. Well, personally, I'm beginning to believe that it is nothing but sunspots. You want to see me? Well, come on over. Oh, yes, Anna is still our maid. All right, I'll tell her. See you in about 15 minutes, then. Okay, goodbye.
Mr. Bennett, those signals, do you think they might be from Miss Paula?
Oh, I don't think so. Why, it's 4 years now. It's not likely.
Oh, there will never be another one like her. There was no holding on to her. She would go through your hands like quicksilver.
Yes. Quicksilver. When we were first married... I'm sorry, darling.
Oh, I don't mind hearing, Don. I want to. I think it's better for both of us to talk about her.
Well, when we were first married, there was always something calling her away. New worlds to conquer. It was ages before I could pin her down long enough to listen to me. But I finally did. Out at the Bendix meet one day. It was her second trophy. Another great day for Paula Martin. Just one more shot, Miss Martin. Now face this way.
All right, boys, but this will have to be the last one.
Thank you, Miss Martin. Hi, darling. Oh, sweetie, congratulations.
Hello, Don. Did you see it all?
I
the way
sure
I came
did.
in for that finish?
Oh, honey, it was wonderful. Oh, Paula, now this is your second Bendix trophy. Now you've certainly proven that you're the greatest woman flyer in the world. Now you can stop proving things, huh? And marry me.
We've been all through that before, Don. I'd never give up flying. I've still got a lot of unfinished business up there. There's still so much to do.
Well, there'll come a time when there'll be nothing new to do. And what then?
I'll worry about that when I'm 30. In the meantime, think of all the new type planes there'll be to fly.
I'll buy you any type of plane you want.
I might still be interested in some more meats. I haven't flown the Pacific or the Arctic yet. Yes, there's still so much to do. I'd just never be happy giving up flying.
Those are awfully tough terms, Paul.
Yes, aren't they?
And so we married, on Paula's terms, that she could go on flying. A year later, she was doing a solo over the Atlantic. The first woman ever to do it in a jet plane. You know, that should have been enough to satisfy any flyer. And for a while, it did. But then suddenly, Paula began disappearing on long flights, weeks at a time, talking very evasively about them. Because some entirely new interest had come into her life.
Dinner tonight? Oh, isn't that rather quick notice?
Paula?
In a second, darling.
Well, if it's really that important.
Well, goodbye until later, then. Dawn, about tonight...
About tonight, I had a notion that you and I were seeing a show. Was I wrong?
No, darling. But I simply must beg off.
Why?
Well, something's come up.
What?
Well, nothing that would interest you.
Oh, but it does.
Well, there's something about an experimental plane that hasn't been behaving very well lately.
Paula, this is the third time lately that you've ditched me like this.
I'm sorry.
I'd like to know what's at the bottom of it all. Come on, now, that's not an answer.
Third degree, so many questions.
I'm your husband, remember?
I should think my husband would know enough to trust me, don't you, Don?
This isn't the first time it's happened, Paula. Always those phone calls from the mysterious Mr. X, and every time you run off with him.
We've been through this over and over.
Yeah, if it isn't that, you suddenly fly off into the blue without warning, for weeks sometimes. And never a word of where you've been or going or why.
It's nothing I can discuss
Why
now.
not?
Don, you knew what I was when you married me. You knew that I had things to do. We made a bargain, and I've kept my end.
Flying in planes, that I agreed to. But these secret meetings with this man and these mysterious trips you're going on, well,
work to do, and I'm doing it.
What, with that man? Who is he? Who is he?
That's enough, Don. Some other day.
Never mind some other day.
It's the best I can offer.
No, it isn't, Paula. Now, you listen to me. Now that you break that date and come out with me...
Oh, stop it!
I'm going out of here by myself. And for good. Well, Paula, which is... What's the answer?
The answer? I've never let anyone lock me in a hangar before. And I don't intend to start now.
All right, then.
And that was the end of it, Don. You didn't come back again to this apartment until after she disappeared.
I was wrong. Wrong to lose my temper, but it rankled me so. There was another man came into her life, Paula, wasn't there?
I can't tell you that.
Paula, you've got to tell me, Anna.
I can't.
You've got to. For my own peace of mind, I must know. Who was it?
What's the difference, Mr. Bennett? It's all over anyway. She's dead now. Isn't she?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And now, let's leave the world of the future for a moment and meet a lovely British actress who represents the world of today. Adrienne Corey, appearing in the Kenneth McEldowney award-winning Technicolor motion picture, The River. Adrienne Corey.
Hello. When I was in India for the filming of The River, I saw some priceless, fabulous jewelry. But when I came to America, I found the smartest piece of jewelry I'd ever seen. And any woman can own it. It's the Royal Leaf Pin, designed for me by Chrysler. Now, this is a genuine cultured pearl. And see how it's set off against the golden brilliance of this leaf. Can you imagine a genuine cultured pearl? And it's not only beautiful, it's practical, because this pin can be worn in so many different ways. For instance, to accent a hat. Or, of course, here. Or at the shoulder or sleeve of your dress. Or at your belt. And the most exciting piece of news is just how easily you can own this. Just listen.
Yes, this Royal Leaf Pin with its genuine cultured pearl should sell for $8.50. But it's yours for only $1 when you purchase a Chrysler watch band. Think of it. For a limited time only, you can get this stunning pearl pin for only $1. And you can choose a watch band like this one, for instance, Chrysler's Golden Fantasy, the expansion band that instantly transforms any woman's watch into a modern bracelet watch.
So if you want to get this pin for only $1, see your jeweler and say, I want to get the Chrysler Royal Leaf Pin.
And now, back to our story. Flight Overdue, starring Veronica Lake.
Anna, maybe this man who came into Paula's life is the answer. Who was he?
Please, Mr. Bennett. Don, all that was 4 years ago.
Anna, you've got to tell me what you know.
But, Mrs. Bennett... Please, Anna, let's have it all out now. Let's clear it up once and for all. Well, Mr. Bennett, after you left here, it became a funny, upside-down kind of life. Miss Paula was more full of secrets than ever. She came, went at all hours. I worried. Sometimes I would be kept waiting up until 4 in the morning. And then, the very last time that I ever saw her...
Certainly been my red letter day, all right. Thanks a million. I'd ask you when only Anna might be waiting up, and I'd rather she didn't know. Good night.
Oh, so Anna must not know.
If you don't look like Lady Macbeth's ghost.
4 in the morning. That's how much you're afraid of me.
Oh, you shouldn't have waited out.
Never mind me. What kind of life is this for you, Miss Stay Out All Night?
A wonderful kind of life, Anna. I don't know when I felt so alive.
This is what you call feeling alive. Keeping these late hours, separating from Mr. Bennett, breaking his heart.
He's better off this way, really he is.
But he loves you so. Why, how can you say that?
I could never be the kind of wife he wants.
Well, then why did you ever marry him?
I thought it was the right thing to do.
Because of all the money he could spend on you?
That's enough, Anna.
Miss Paula, I raised you from a baby. I have a right to talk. Yes, you used Mr. Bennett for what you wanted, and now it's somebody else.
You've been spying on me.
Miss Paula, this is no good. Always making use of people. Taking from them what you want and then flying away. You should settle down, won't you?
Yes, and stop seeing a man that's old enough to be my father.
What do you see in him?
What do I see? You couldn't possibly understand this, Anna. Just when I thought I'd used everything up. Just when it seemed like there were no new worlds left to conquer. Jeepers, I've got to be up by 7.
3 hours from now.
Oh, I've a plane to catch, and I can't afford to miss it.
And where are you going now, may I ask?
Hold your breath, Anna. I'm going to fly the Pacific.
Pacific? Oh, Miss Paula. Always something new. Always taking one more chance. Never thinking of those you leave behind. Those who are unlucky enough to love you and care what happens to you. Do you ever think of anybody but yourself? Someday you will go too far. Someday you will take one chance too many.
Maybe.
Well, then please, Miss Paula.
It's no use, Anna. This is the greatest thing yet. More than oceans, more than water. It's the biggest thing in my life, and nothing's going to stop me.
She was flying over the Pacific. And after that, nothing. Not a word, not a sign. 47 planes searching for weeks. Finally, the wreckage that washed up on an island.
Anna, was that man with her that last night? Was he?
Please, Mr. Bennett, the doorbell.
Never mind the doorbell. Williams can get that. Who was it, Anna?
Mr. Bennett, we have got to trust her just as she asks.
Besides, Don, that's all over with now, isn't it? It is, isn't it? Life belongs in the present, doesn't it?
Good evening. Mrs. Bennett. Anna.
Hello, Sam. It's nice to see you. It's been too long.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I have work to do.
Anna, if you can spare a minute, I came to see you, too. I want you to hear what I have to say. It's about Paula. And you are as close to her as anyone.
Miss Paula?
It's about Paula.
Yes. That's why I'm here. Don, I saw a lot of Paula those last few months. And the last thing
And you were the one who was taking her away all those weeks.
Well, not exactly.
Not exactly. Anna, you were protecting Sam, weren't you? Why?
Mr. Bennett...
Now, don't go off on wrong tangents, you two. That's exactly why I've stayed away from this house all this time.
And why all this secrecy?
Because those were our orders.
Orders from whom?
Well, that's what I can tell you at last. I was just given the go-ahead today. Sit down, Doc. Let me tell you about it. During the war, and for a long time after, I was connected with a special section of the Air Forces, the Experimental Projects Bureau.
Experimental projects?
Yes, a top-secret agency. They asked me one day to recruit Paula as the country's leading woman flyer for a certain job.
What kind of a job?
Well, her work involved secret flights. Flights that puzzled and upset you. And secret meetings with me and others from the Pentagon. Finally, after months, the Pentagon let me know what they really had in mind. They asked me to see Paula again and break the news to her. It was the toughest job of my life. I didn't know how to start.
Oh, come on, Sam, out with it. Whatever it is, I can cope with it.
I'm not sure I can.
Well, now be a brave man and sit down and control yourself.
Thank you. Paula, these flights you've been taking for the last few months, every one of them was a wild goose chase of not the slightest scientific importance.
So I suspected.
There was a reason for it. They were meant to test your stamina and efficiency and your ability to keep a secret.
And now they know I can keep a secret.
This is top secret. During the past year, the government has set up a base on an obscure island, 2,300 miles out of San Francisco. A rocket base.
Rocket? Well, this sounds exciting already.
Very soon from that island, they're going to launch their first rocket flight into outer space.
You mean with a live crew? The real thing?
Crew's already assembled, nearly all of it.
Nearly. You mean they're thinking about me?
In order to test the possible difference in bodily strain between male and female in rocket flight, they want to include one woman.
And I'm elected. Oh, Sam, how wonderful.
The dangers will be terrible. Paula, you're not being ordered to do this. It's entirely up to you. Personally, I'm advising you to refuse it.
Refuse a chance like this?
But I haven't finished. They're sending that rocket to the moon.
To the moon?
The first flight of its kind to be attempted. Now you see how dangerous.
To the moon. Right out into space.
Remember, Paula, you have responsibilities. You're married.
That's my concern, Sam.
Isn't it also Don's? He still loves you.
Yes, and he'd have me be the wife of the year. Thank you, no.
Just the same, I have my duty to do. I must warn you, this may cost you your life.
Well, whose life is it? Mine, to spend any way I want to.
Even though it may affect other people, people who love you. Paula, turn it down.
Turn it down? How can I? wonderful new world, millions of miles away, pulls at me across all that space as though it had me by the hands. I can't possibly resist it. My whole life, everything I've done up to now has been for an opportunity like this. And no one's going to stop me. Not you or Don or anyone.
Rocket to the moon. And they really went through with it, Sam?
They took off perfectly. We watched the flight through giant telescopes. We saw the rocket streaking through the Earth's atmosphere, everything fine, going into the outer space, just a tiny speck. And then we lost it.
And not a word from them ever since.
But the wreckage.
Well, to cover up, we had that wreckage planted in the Pacific and pretended it was Paula's plane. We had to, for security reasons. The search planes were carefully kept away from the rocket base. That rocket was a miracle of science, as safe and efficient as man could make it. The only question was, would it ever be able to make the return trip?
Return trip?
Or get a radio signal back to Earth?
Sam, that's the reason you've finally been allowed to tell us all this.
You've all heard those strange signals coming over the airwaves lately.
They've been located as coming from the moon.
Yes, from the moon.
And it could be Paula. She's alive.
No, Don. Paula's dead. We've been able to unscramble those radio signals in Washington. Paula and 3 others died when the rocket crash landed.
And she is dead. Paula's dead.
I know you've never been satisfied with the story of her death, and I'm sorry to bring you this news now, but I felt I owed it to you and to Anna.
Oh, I'm sorry, Don. Terribly sorry.
Sorry? Maybe I shouldn't say this now that she's gone. But I'm glad she's dead. She never loved anyone but herself. Yes, Sam. Maybe she was a strange breed. Maybe her kind is necessary. But as for me, I'm glad she's gone. She's gone. And at last I'm free. Free.
And so closes our Tale of Tomorrow. And now, one last word from lovely motion picture star Adrienne Corey.
Just a reminder, from one woman to another. You can get the Chrysler Royal Leaf Pin with its real culture pearl for only $1 when you buy a Chrysler watch band for yourself or for your husband. And to you men, I say, here's a chance to get a beautiful gift for your wife for only $1 and get a new watch band for yourself or her at the same time. So why not see the Chrysler Royal Leaf Pin at your jeweler tomorrow?
Hats by John Fredericks. Friends, tornadoes have struck in the South. The Red Cross is there caring for the homeless, the sick, and the injured. Your help is needed. Give generously through your American Red Cross.
The preceding program, originally telecast by ABC in New York, has come to you by special video recording. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.